Okay, we've looked at a bunch of different equations for lines that have a whole variety of slopes. And what we want to look at right now is kind of the two more interesting slopes that lines can have. And it happens that those two types of slopes line up with horizontal and vertical lines. So we're going to look at the equation and slope for horizontal and vertical lines. And we're just going to use a generic point, C comma D, to work through how this process works. So our horizontal line is going to go this way. Okay. And as we look at this line, no matter what x is, our y value is always going to be equal to d. Okay, and so that is going to give us our equation, which is y is equal to d. And we're going to look at why that is the case. So let's put 2 points on here and find that slope. So maybe here at x equals 1 and maybe x equals 3. So these 2 points, this point is 1 comma d, so that value of y is just d. And this point will be 3 comma d. And so our slope for this line, so our slope for our horizontal line is going to be, let's see, d minus d over 3 minus 1, which gives us 0 over 2, which is 0. Okay, so that slope for a horizontal line is 0. And if our slope is 0, then y equals mx plus b. If we replace that m with a 0, this term goes away. So we're just left with the intercept value, okay, which is right here. Okay, so that hopefully gives you some intuitive sense of why that works out. So let's fill this in. The horizontal line is y is equal to d, and then our slope is 0. So put those two down. And then let's do the same thing, but we'll look at the vertical line. So that vertical line through CD is going to go up and down. And then remember how on this one we said as we went across the x values, the y stayed constant. The exact opposite is going on here. The x is constant. X is always equal to c on this line, and then the y values are changing. Okay, so that should hopefully give us some sense that x is equal to c would be the equation here for that vertical line. So I'm going to put that down on my paper. And then let's look at the slope for this. So let's pick maybe 2 points on here. We'll correspond them over here. So maybe y is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2. So these points would be c comma 1 and c comma 2. So we find the slope for this. Now of my vertical line, I have 2 minus 1 over c minus c, which is 1 over 0. And that's a big problem. So we can't divide by 0 in mathematics. That's undefined. So our slope on a vertical line is always going to be undefined. Okay. So let's try this out with some actual numbers instead of c and d. So the vertical line through the point 3 comma 4. So our vertical line uses x equals c. So I would have x equals 3 here. And then the horizontal line through that point is going to be y is equal to 4. So you're literally taking whatever the x value is or whatever the y value is. And that's all there is to this. So pause the video for a second, try 11 and 12, and then we'll do this together. Okay, so let's look at 11 and 12. So vertical line always uses x, and our x value is -5. And then the horizontal line always uses y, and our y value here is -11. So that equation is just y is equal to -11.